BTB, Bit Brothers, soars 286%. But just who are this mysterious Chinese company? Why are they soaring this high? And should they be in your portfolio? Time to find out. Time to get focused.
Time to get focused with Focus on Investing.
Welcome to Focus on Investing, where we keep you up to date with all of the latest trending assets. If you would like to keep up to date with the latest trending cryptocurrencies, stocks, forex pairs, and commodities, then please hit that subscribe button. Also, we encourage you to hit the bell icon as we release these videos as soon as we record them. So if you're watching this video now and you've received the bell icon to notify you about this opportunity, then this opportunity is probably still available. All right. With that said, let's get into this information. All right. So the stock that we're looking at today is Bit Brothers Limited, ticker symbol BTB. Now, what's interesting about this company? We find this with some of these Chinese companies that there's a little bit of mystery or mystique around some of them. And this one here, Bit Brothers, interesting name as well. You would think that it has something to do with maybe Bitcoin or something along those lines, but you'd kind of be mistaken. We're going to see why the kind of a bit later on in this video, but they're not that at all. And also they don't actually have an official website. So I can't really, I like to go into the actual official website and get a little bit of background information, but they don't seem to have one. So I don't know if that's simply just because they are more, B2B, they're more trade and industry based. So they're not public facing. So they don't need a public facing website. Or maybe there's some other reason why they don't want to be publicly identified on the internet. I don't know. But however, we're looking today at Reuters. If you don't know about Reuters, Reuters is like an international news organization. And they're talking about Bit Brothers here. So we're going to go to their website in order to get like a basic understanding of who the company are. And they've got some charts and things here. I'll leave this link in the description if you want to look into more detail about the charts, but we will also go into technical analysis later on in the video as well. So really why we're here is to see this, the About Bit Brothers Limited. It's got btb.oq. So the company information, Bit Brothers Limited, formerly Urban Tea Inc., kind of a strange name change, but okay, is a holding company. The company is a chemical manufacturer which is engaged in manufacturing and selling of organic compounds, including parachlorotoluene, PCT, orthochlorotoluene, OCT, and then PCT/OCT downstream products, unsaturated polyester resin, UPR, malic acid, MA, and other byproduct chemicals, and distributing fine and specialty chemicals to end application markets, including automotive, pharmaceutical, agrochemical, dye and pigments, aerospace, ceramics, coating printing, clean energy, and food additives. The company's products are PCT/OCT and UPR. The PCT/OCT products, together with its downstream products, can be used in pharmaceuticals, pesticides, dyes, and consumables manufacturing industries. UPR is used as a renovation material for bathroom and kitchen, manufacturing materials for trains, cars, aircrafts, and vessels, and infrastructure materials such as anti-collusion pipes and oil and gas pipelines. So that's a bit about what they do. So essentially, they're a chemical company. I found it a bit, maybe I'm not versed enough on chemicals, but it's a bit strange that you've got things that are in for food, but also like pesticides and things like that. So yeah, here you go, food additives and then also pesticides. So very interesting. Again, they're one of these companies based in China. And yeah, as we said, they're a chemical company. And as we kind of suspected earlier, they're kind of one of those companies that are more industry facing rather than consumer facing. They don't seem to sell to the consumer. So maybe that's why they feel they don't need a website. But they do have contact information here. And again, they say the industry is food processing, even though they deal with all of these other chemicals and ceramics and things like that. So very interesting into what they do. But so why exactly were they up today? Why was there a big spike in their price today? So we're going to take a look at the reason as to why. If you haven't done so, please hit that like button. Also, if you would like to support this channel, you can hit the Cash app, which is on screen, #, focus on investing. All right, so we're here at this website called Ask Traders. Again, the link will be in the description. And the headline of this article is Bit Brothers BTB up 100%. Is this just momentum? So this article is going to discover and describe why BTB Bit Brothers has spiked up today. I'm going to start here with the key points. And so the key points: Bit Brother is up 100% this morning. And here's the key point: there is no obvious news to drive BTB. So again, I don't know if you guys are regular followers of the Focus on Investing channel, then you know we speak about this quite often, right? And we're seeing this, happening quite often these days as well, where we'll get a asset that spikes up, whether it's cryptocurrencies, whether it's stocks, or something along those lines, that would spike up drastically on the day. And then when we look at why the news is as to why they spiked, there is no news for the spike. And this is very interesting, right? Because as investors and as traders, you guys are making investments of your own hard-earned money based on something. And usually, you have to substantiate that investment, right? So there's typically two forms of investing, or two types of research or analysis for investing. There's fundamental and there's technical, right? And fundamental analysis talks about reading the news and getting some kind of news in order to drive your investment decisions. But again, as we're seeing more frequently over these times, there is no obvious news to drive these stocks, right? So if there is no news about these stocks, then you will actually miss out on the stock. So this is why we always advocate for technical analysis, right? Technical analysis is always the thing that we advise, because the charts do not lie. Whether or not there's no news or something about an asset, it's always going to reflect in the charts. So your ability to read and understand charts and make investments about understanding charts is always going to do you better and more favorably than waiting for news about the charts. All right. So if you guys would like to learn how to read the charts and get technical analysis that will enable you to get involved in a lot of these investments that are not showing up on fundamental analysis traders' radars, then go to focusoninvesting.io. There we've got an investment course with all of our technical indicators that will allow you to analyze charts for yourself, and then you won't miss out on any of these opportunities. All right, so let's continue with this article. It says, again, there's no obvious news to drive BTB, but a trading position needs to be based upon information. Again, going back to what we were just saying, you need information in order to make a trading decision. And again, if you would have waited for fundamental analysis or news to invest in this asset, then you would have missed out because there was no trading information. So I'm not going to read the whole article, but I've highlighted some key paragraphs. So this first paragraph just kind of, again, reiterates a bit about what BTB Bit Brothers does in China, and again kind of plays again more into this whole idea that there's some of these Chinese companies are I don't want to use the word shady, but they come across unorthodox. I say this. So let's get into the article. It says, as to what Bit Brothers does, it's a small series of tea shops in China, small as in less than 5 by one account. This isn't perhaps the sort of thing we'd expect to even have a stock market quote. There is also a distribution business attached, but even then, pretty small beer. It's also not something that we'd expect to have a volatile stock price. Well, not unless there was some attempt to create a Starbucks-like chain across China or something. But branding tea in that country might not be so easy. The actual issue that has been driving Bit Brothers stock for some time now is purported involvement in cryptocurrencies. So very interesting. We can see that the front for this company, excuse me, doesn't really make much sense, but there is seen to be some drive behind it, maybe to make some kind of international Starbucks chain sort of brand, maybe. I mean, the company is pretty small, but then also the fact that they're involved in some kind of cryptocurrency. So I don't know if they've maybe loaded their books with some kind of cryptocurrencies or something along those lines, but the picture doesn't seem to fully add up. Nevertheless, the market does pump and the chart does move. So there's always an opportunity to make money. So again, let's get back to the story about why it's risen up today. So what is it that is driving Bit Brothers stock today? There is no news out, nothing on the wires. There's not been any grand changes in Chinese cryptocurrency regulation, no corporate announcement. So it's all a bit of a mystery. One thought is that this might be driven by the occasional rogue trader, someone buying at well above market in a thinly traded stock can do that. But there also appears to be a trade of some 4 million pieces of stock. So that's not it either. We've got real trade going on at these elevated prices. The point here is not to simply shrug and say, well, don't know. Rather, it's to make the much more important point that trading position is difficult to decide upon without more information. Unless we know why Bit Brothers is up 100% more or less, then we can't really decide whether it's going to be more or less. In the near future, trading simply and only on the fact that others are trading is doing so in an information vacuum, excuse me. Right. So again, this goes back to what we spoke about. You know, if you're just trading because other people are doing so, and you don't have the skill set to analyze and make a decision on your own, then you're trading on in an information vacuum. And again, fundamental analysis traders are trading in an information vacuum because there is no information on this stock. Whereas if you were a technical analysis trader, you would have information because your information would come from your ability to read the charts. And with that said, let's move on to the technical analysis portion of this video and look at some of the charts on TradingView. Let me know in the comments, guys. Are you guys more fundamental analysis traders or technical analysis traders? And if you're fundamental analysis, what is your principles for fundamental analysis? And if you're a technical analysis trader, what indicators do you use to analyze charts? All right, bringing up. This is our 4-screen setup in TradingView. On here, you will also see our custom coded technical analysis indicators. Again, if you'd like to get your hands on our templates and our indicators that help you to read and analyze charts by yourself, then go to focusoninvesting.io. All right, today we're looking at Bit Brothers Limited, ticker symbol BTB, and we're going to start with the monthly time frame. We like to look at the monthly time frame because it gives us a better overview of the history of the stock. If we zoom out a little bit, we can see that this stock has been trading since July 2015. We can see a massive spike. We can see that our all-time high around here, which is the $382.43. So quite a high stock, at its highest point. Since then, we can see that price fell down, and even in that month, it fell drastically. If this was the high of that month, it actually closed around here, let's say, around $128. So what is that like? It's a massive difference between the high of the stock and the closing price, right? So a lot of massive volatility. Even if we look at the open price of that month, its opening month, it opened at $48. So it went from $48 to $382 and then came back down to $128. So massive movement within the month. We expect that with anytime there's an initial public offering of a company or a stock, we always know that there's a lot of volatility within the market. So can be expected, but again, still quite a wild movement within that. And since it did that massive movement, if we go to our arrows, we can see that price then went to the downside and kind of flattened out. And we can see that it's found a natural sort of level, a natural sort of base around these sort of areas. Yeah, we do see the odd spike. We see a spike here in price in the 1st of August 2016. See another bigger spike around here in May 2017. Another spike again here, April 2019. A slight spike here around 2020, but nothing really significant. If we zoom in a bit closer, let's stretch the chart a bit so we can get a bit more information. Again, very low volume bars here, not very much movement in terms of body of the candlestick and hardly any wick moving on this. So quite a lot of flat movement. And as such, we can see that the trend filter is flashing in and out here. So, you know, we can see for months that it's kind of been trading at basically the same level, around $1, not even that, less than $1 really. All right, so let's go to the weekly time frame to get a bit more information on this stock. If we look at the weekly time frame here, we can zoom in and get a bit more information. Very, very flat chart. You know, I definitely would have to stretch it in order to get any sort of, you know, differentiation or information with this chart. And even still stretching it, you're still not getting much information. So very, very flat in terms of this stock, right? Trading around, this base is around what, 31 cents. And then in more recent times, the base was around 15 cents. So even halved, 31 cents. Again, trend filter is red, trading below our 50 simple moving average and our 200 simple moving average. You know, price is really struggling to move. But we have seen today with this week that we've got a spike, and that probably mostly is due to today's price movement. We'll find a bit more information when we go to the daily time frame. But this spike here, you can see where the spike has kind of stopped. It stopped around the 50 simple moving average. So this seems to be acting as a level of resistance, and that's not surprising because, you know, there's very little momentum with this chart anyway. So any sort of movement is going to get held up by any mild form of resistance. Not to say that the 50 simple moving average is a mild form, it's quite a strong form, but it's not the strongest. As we can see, the strongest is the 200 simple moving average above here, and we're well away from that. Also, we're also well away from any key pivot support and resistance levels indicated by this dashed red line and this dashed green line. But as price is very flat, we're not seeing price even, you know, approach any of these sort of levels. All right, let's take a look at our daily time frame. So we look at our daily time frame, we can definitely get a bit more information as to what's going on with this chart. So we can see that our trend filter is clearly red at the moment. You know, if we look at the market, is market still open? So the market is still open. Current price is 29 cents exactly, as we see the market is open. You know, if we look at our indicators, we can see that, you know, price was up. I think it was 286 for the day. But currently price is up 158.7%. Yesterday it was down 15.59%. For the week we're up 118.38%. And again for the month we're up 118.38%. So we can see that all of this month's movement has come from this week. And it's basically come from today. Because if we look here, let's draw our lines. We can see that price was flattened off. And then when we got to the 28th of August, we saw this massive, not only a downward movement, we saw a gap downward. So gap down was an even stronger indication of weakness, but not even just a gap, a double gap. We have the first gap here from the 23rd to the 24th, and then again another gap from the 24th to the 25th. So massive downward gap movement. And then even after the gap, we see price continue to tail off to the downside, right? So this is why it's even more interesting or more important that when we see this massive gap back up, and if we look at what the gap is, the gap kind of took us above our original gap. So we gapped down to around the level of $25, but when we gapped up to about 25 cents. And when we gapped up to around 26 cents. So we're seeing this massive price movement from where we closed, which was down here, all the way up to where we're at now. And, you know, if we take our ruler, we can exactly measure this price movement. So we take it from where the last bar closed. We put the line here. If we bring the line up, and we can see here we're at that 286 percentage. So we raised up 286%. And then since our high price is falling down to this level here, and this is where we get our 161.11 level. If we bring up our other indicator, we can see how far off of our high we are. Where is the indicator? Let me zoom out a little bit. There it is. So we can see that we're down 90.243% off of our high, which is $3, and our current price is 29 cents. So let's remove this indicator. Now, again, if we analyze the chart, we can see that price, when it rolls up, look where it rolls up to. We actually have an indicator. This is why the key pivot support and resistance level indicator is so important. You can see that this indicator highlighted the level ahead of time as to where price was predicted to go to, right? And remember, these indicators, these pivot support and resistance indicators, whenever we're talking about support and resistance, we're always talking about a zonal area. We're not talking about an exact price. So if we draw this line where the indicator plotted, we can see that price did in fact come to this sort of area in order to stop. And then price fell back down again. If you look where it fell back down to, right on where we had our other pivot support and resistance indicator. And this was highlighted because the top indicator was highlighted from this long wick on the 9th of June 2022, and the bottom indicator was highlighted from this long wick, or the short wick, but the base of it, on the 29th of June 2022. So if we actually zoom out a little bit and then get to drawing our trend channels, where are we? Parallel channel here. We can see that this was a significant channel for this stock at this price, right? If we draw here, our stock short just before the bar. If we draw this channel here, we can see how much price, respected this level of resistance and this level of support within this channel. As price entered into this channel, it hit our support level, bounced off, came to our resistance level, had a little fake out to the upside, came back down again, bounced off of our support level, bounced up, bounced back down again on our support level, bounced up to our resistance level, hovered somewhere in the middle. Again, this middle level is an area of support and resistance. Bounced off again with this spike to the upside off of the resistance level, came back down, used the middle level as an area of resistance, and then bounced down to the downside of a level of support before then completely falling out of the channel with our gap down and then continuation to the downside. So we can see here right now, price does have an inclination to get stuck within this channel. So, my estimate is that price will continue to bounce up and down throughout this channel. Although it has stopped here at this pivot support and resistance level, there's no reason why it couldn't fall back down to this level of support here. And again, if it is going to bounce up, it's going to have a hard time breaking out of this channel. The other thing to remember is as well, also, we have this 200 simple moving average right in the middle of our channel. So this is going to act as a strong area of support and resistance. So if price does manage to break up above its current pivot level, we've got to watch out for this 200 simple moving average level of support and resistance, right? And we don't really have any round numbers. We have this 30 cents number. I guess you could cast that as a round number. Don't expect it to be too strong. But again, this is one that is just above price. Currently, we've got the 30 cents. We've also got 40 cents here in the middle of our channel. So we've got quite a few areas of resistance. We've got the key pivot support and resistance area. We've got the 30 cents. We've got the 200 simple moving average. We've got the middle of the channel, which also coincides with this pivot support and resistance area that goes back to the wick of the 21st of July. Above that, we then have the 40 cents area, and then we have the top of the channel at we have it here at 42 cents as well. So quite a lot of resistance in its way for this chart to move up. However, we have seen, as with this spike today, that when it does have the momentum, it has the ability to break through all of these areas of resistance. If we're to look up, the next area of resistance would probably be this pivot level. And again, this chart has a lot of area to move to the upside. Remember, the all-time high is way above this. Remember when we zoomed out, this was looking very flat. So plenty of areas of resistance above and plenty of potential for this stock to keep rising. As we've had higher levels before, it's likely that we can get higher levels again here. But again, in recent times, this stock has struggled. This is very similar in terms of, the gap up from the previous days to the opening, gapping up and then having massive rises. We looked at a stock similar to this called FedNat yesterday. So if you would like to look at the FedNat stock, then please click on this video here on screen. And thank you guys for joining us. Take care. Peace.